first. So what's been your experience with this anyway? When did you come into this, or when did you...
Well, I came into this, well, first, as anyone who ever saw this beast, from dreaming of it. And then I contacted Ludwig Rehbeck, he runs EMS Germany, and said, all right, if you ever run into one of them, there are only 25 built of those, and there are 24 left, one was destroyed, it was in Moscow, and I don't know what they did to it, but it doesn't work anymore. And Rehbeck got a list of all the Synthesizer 100 which are there still in work, and there are several in Germany, there are some in Scandinavia, some in England. And well, finally I called me, he gave me a ring and told me that there was one available from the University of Glasgow, and I bought this one, and now I got one. The one that I got is a bit different from this one here. This seems to be very near to the original version here. This is the oscilloscope we find here. There's a frequency meter. We got the sequencer there, the display of the memory. The memory is 256 steps in all, not more, but 3 layers, and you can let it run backwards and forwards and step by step and things like that. Well, then the thing I got from the University of Glasgow has been changed a lot. They built additional VCAs into it and changed the components somehow, but this is very near to those models that came from the factory that way. And what we have here is well, a thing in which its creator put, I think, anything he ever thought would be needed for electronic music. We got 8 filters, we got 4 low-pass filters, 4 high-pass filters, we got 12 oscillators of which I think 8 are mainly for audio purposes, and 4 are for modulation. We got an octave filter bank, we got ring modulators, several of them. We got 3 envelope shapers here. Here are the ring modulators, the envelope shapers. And we got input amplifiers, external treatment devices. You can just put external things to treat inside of the signal chain to treat the signals you create with this one. And the interesting thing about this, you got 2 joysticks which are there, down there, to control any of the parameters. And the most interesting thing about this is that you don't have any patch cords, you just have those matrix boards here and those pins here, and if you insert a pin, you make a connection between a source and a destination. And that's quite complicated. You see here how many possibilities you have, and there's another one. This is just for the audio, and this is for the control. And well, that's all that's about it. But
so what were these used for?
They mainly were used by electronic studios. Just Stockhausen, for example, he realized his composition Sirius on it, and because it was so very expensive that normally you couldn't afford to buy it. And it would make more sense to buy a VCS3 or a Synthi A or several of them, and then it would be a lot cheaper than this one here, just these three. And it's about 250 kilos altogether. It's just 2 parts. The lower part was just wood and nothing in it, and this part, which you can't divide in any way. You just have to build out. You have to put out your window to get into the studio. You have to tear down walls. The thing is 2 meters, and this is 90 centimeters. And what's very interesting about the thing is that you just can modulate anything with everything with everything. And what we have here is we got a very simple patch, which is just 1 oscillator running through one filter, running through one envelope shaper, modulated by another oscillator. Here, oscillator 11, and this oscillator 11 is modulated by oscillator 10. So we got a change in pattern, and what you can see is that any millimeter of changing the settings changes perhaps here the speed, and here the sound of the filter, and here the modulation. Oscillator 4. Where are we? Where I am here. Oh, that's it. It's very complicated, you see. Very little level here. That's strange. Actually, it shouldn't run at all at the moment. There's nothing put in. I don't know why. This is monophonic. What you can do is you can, of course, use both of those at once. And,
but essentially, most people use these just to trigger noises, not from a keyboard.
well, the thing is that from what it does, this system, if you still want to use it today, the sequencer with its 256 events doesn't make any sense at all. You just can leave this away. You don't need the keyboard because you can MIDI-fy the thing and control it by a MIDI keyboard. And these oscillators, they aren't stable at all, and they're drifting just the way they like. So the most interesting thing to my mind is the octave filter bank, the ring modulators, and all these modulation facilities you got in here. You just there's a recording by Irmin Schmidt and Bruno Sperry. Irmin Schmidt by Can and the German group Can, and Bruno Sperry is a man from Switzerland, and they did a whole record just with material that was fed into the Synthi 100, and the rhythmic patterns were made by the Synthi 100, and all the filtering and all the sound manipulation in general. And I think this is the real, I think the most comprehensive instrument you can find until now, but there are many of them. So most of the people who got one, they stuck to them. So
excellent. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Yeah.
Don't go. I have to say that this is.
That's okay. We just do a bit of that nodding and then I'll say.
okay.
Perhaps you can say about the.
mainly used by universities and electronic laboratories. And one of the reasons for this was the price at this stage. Well, I don't know what it has been in England. It was about 80,000 marks in Germany. And well, a single musician normally couldn't afford this. And well, until today they're in use, and well, one example I know is the soundtrack of Doctor Who is already is also to a great extent realized in such a machine, and it's just really great for making noises, bizarre noises of any kind. And through its modulations, you can modulate everything with anything and create real strange sounds with it. And you can treat external signals by filtering, by envelope shaping, by ring modulation. And there also is a CD, which is now it's available as CD. It was an LP before, by Ermin Schmidt of Cannes in Germany, and a Swiss man called Bruno Sperry, who owned the Synthesizer 100. And they manipulated all the material through the Synthesizer 100 and made all the rhythmic patterns with it. And it's a nice record, and it's still available, or available again on CD. And well, the thing of this machine, the main reason to use it nowadays is manipulating sound. Not
So people wouldn't play it from the keyboard?
they wouldn't play it from the keyboard, because you could take a MIDI keyboard and just take an interface, and then from the interface play this thing. But anyway, you wouldn't do this either, because the oscillators aren't stable at all. They're just drifting up and down and things like this. So it's mainly for sound effects.
Could you take us through the patch you've got set up? What are you using?
Well, it's quite a simple patch. We're using one oscillator. I think number 3 or 4. Doesn't matter. One oscillator, one filter, one envelope shaper, and the envelope shaper is the thing that does the rhythmical thing here. This is done by the free-running envelope shaper. This is the filter. It's a low-pass filter. You also got high-pass filters in the system. You got 8 filters. You got 12 oscillators, of whom 8 are for audio purposes and 4 for modulation. You got an octave filter bank. You got 2 joysticks for manipulating voltages. You got 3 ring modulators and 2 reverberation units, which are very poor in sound because they were just tiny springs. And well, that's about all. But the thing is, you can connect everything in here with anything you like. All these parts of it are interchangeable, and you do this by just putting one of those pins here and one of the holes there. And you see it's a lot of holes here. I don't know how many. It's about 9,600 or something like that. And you have to read the inscriptions here carefully, and it's a lot of searching when you program it.
Great, thanks.